Here we are at number 9. What are the horizontal intercepts of the quadratic? I should have put a y equals in there. It should say y equals x squared plus 8x plus 15. Write your answers as coordinate pairs. Okay. What are the horizontal intercepts? So, what you got to remember, think about this. A lot of people try to memorize a bunch of this stuff. They think it's just a bunch of steps to memorize, but really it's not. It's mostly just about understanding what a quadratic does, what it means to be a horizontal intercept. What does it mean to be a vertical intercept? So it says right here, horizontal intercepts. So look, I'm going to look at my horizontal axis. What does it mean to have a horizontal intercept? It means that y equals 0, right? X goes left and right, y goes up and down. So we got to figure out when y is equal to 0. So if I set this thing equal to 0, x squared plus 8x plus 15, this would tell me, if I could figure out the x, there's two x values, they're going to make this thing 0. And if I can figure out those two values that make y 0, those two x values that make y 0, I'll know what the horizontal intercepts are. Now, there's a little problem here. Look, I gave it to this. I'm going to give this to you in standard form. I expect you guys to be able to factor this. I want you to understand horizontal intercepts come from the factors. So we're going to have to factor this thing. So what do we got to do to factor it? First thing we got to do, I'm going to drag these down here. Look at this. You see that 15? Let's maybe highlight the 15. Let's move this up here. I'm going to highlight the 15 in orange. I need two numbers that multiply to make 15, that constant value. And guess what color I'm going to highlight the 8? Purple. Because right here, a plus b has got to be equal to 8. I need two numbers. Why are we doing this? Because we need these factors. We're going to come up with these two factors. And we know that this x squared, we know where it came from. It came from x times x. So we got this for sure. We know x times x is x squared. So you can go ahead and fill this part out when you're trying to factor. Get your parentheses set up. And I see that this is positive and this is positive. So I'm looking for two positive numbers. And these numbers just happened to add up to 15, or they have to multiply to 15. And they add up to 8. Let me get this thing a little more out of the way. I'm going to drag this up here. Give us some space to work. Okay, so the first thing I do every single time, I come up with my factors. Okay, there's all kinds of different numbers that add up to 8. 1 and 7, 2 and 6, 3 and 5, 0 and 8. It's not helpful at all to try to think of what adds up to 8. But if we think of the numbers that multiply to make 15, there's not going to be that many. And those we can pick from which ones add up to be 8. So we got 1 times 15. Yep. 1 times 15. 1 times 15. And then we got 3 times 5. I think that might be it. So here's my factors of 15. Now, 1 times 15, or 1 plus 15 is not 8, so it does not satisfy this part here. 1 times 15 is 15, but it doesn't add up to 8. 3 times 5 is 15, and guess what happens when you add those two together? You get 8 right there. So maybe we highlight these in purple. These are the ones we want. No, never mind, you can't see it in purple. Let's not do that. We got the numbers. It's plus 3 and plus 5. And I promise you, if you multiply this together, you're going to get x squared plus 8x plus 15. So now, we're not done yet. We got to figure out what those x values are that make each of these factors equal to 0. There's going to be two values of x that if I add something to 3 and it gives me a 0 here, who cares what I get over here, whatever that other number or the factor is, anything times 0 is 0. If I can think of some number plus 5 that equals 0, who cares what I get over here? Anything times 0 is 0. So, on the factor on the left, we are looking at x equals -3. Here, let me tell you something. Some of you might want to go, hey, if you like your inverse operations and you feel more comfortable doing this, set them both equal to 0. Then do your inverse operations. You don't necessarily need to do this. This kind of helps you understand. For some people, they might like this better. Set both factors equal to 0. And you can do it like that. Me personally, I feel like that sometimes would confuse me in high school, so that's why I kind of been focusing on us just thinking of what's the number that x could be that gives us a 0 here. So -5 plus 5 is 0, and -3 plus 3 is 0. And so here, but look, I said right here, a lot of people have a really hard time writing their stuff in coordinate pairs, and I'm giving it to you. I'm telling you right here, x is on the left, y is on the right. It's not that complicated. Please write this as a coordinate pair for me. All right, x goes on the left. When x is -3, y is going to be 0. And when x is -5, y is going to be 0. So if we plotted these two, it would look something like that on the graph.